In this video, we're going to make a case for phone cases, specifically print-on-demand phone cases for your Etsy shop. We're going to take a look at 3 different styles of phone cases that are available through Printify. We're going to talk about creating designs for them. We're going to look at niche opportunities, search volume, and pricing. So stick around and let's dive in. The sponsor of today's video is Printify. They did send me 3 samples of phone cases for us to take a look at and do a review of, so thank you to Printify for that. It's no secret that phone cases are a big business online. If you simply search for iPhone case or something like that on Amazon, you'll see thousands upon thousands of search results. So we know that people definitely buy phone cases, but there are a lot of options available, and that's why we have 3 to take a look at today. All are available from the print provider WOYC, which stands for Who's on Your Case. They're a print provider available on Printify. They have worldwide shipping and multiple fulfillment locations, so they actually can get your orders fulfilled for customers locally in a few different countries. So they are a nice option. Now there are other providers available on Printify, and you'll see that when we take a look in the catalog a little bit later. But I thought that they would be a great place to start for looking at some different styles of phone cases. First, let me just point out the shipping on these. Now, they all come in a relatively flat cardboard box that has the kind of tear-off strip in the middle, and then it kind of unfolds. And because it's relatively compact, the shipping cost on these is pretty low, which is nice. Inside the cardboard box, they all come in one of these little like cloth style sleeves. So they arrive in a nice package, and they overall have a good professional look to them as far as what the customer receives. We're gonna start with the clear phone case for our review of these phone cases, because that's the one that's already on my phone. I have an iPhone. This is the iPhone 13 Pro Max, so it's the largest size. I wanted to order these samples for the size of my phone, obviously, so I could show them to you on an actual phone, but also because being the largest size iPhone, it would really, give us a good example of the biggest size of the print, how the print would come out on the largest size case. But let's start with the clear case. This one, oddly enough, even though this is probably the most minimalistic case, being just the just clear, flexible plastic all the way around, I think it actually has the most significant bump on the back to protect your camera lenses. At least when you look at the close-up images of the other 2, you'll know what I mean. I'll see actually, I'll put up all 3 of them side by side with a shot showing the camera bump right now, because I do think that even though overall maybe this one doesn't offer the most comprehensive protection, the clear one actually has the largest bump out around your camera lenses for protecting those. On the front side, this one does not have the largest extended lip for protecting the screen, so not a lot of protection. There is a little bit of a lip so that when it's laying flat on its face, the screen is not in contact with a flat surface like a table. But if it's a rough surface, a bumpy surface, the screen is gonna come into contact with whatever that is. It's got nice clear port cutouts, and it's also got button covers. So the buttons are covered by plastic, but this is a very flexible case, so no problem clicking the buttons at all. Let's talk about the print though. This is the only case of the 3 that I was maybe just a little bit disappointed in the print. I'm not gonna go as far as to say I don't like it or that I wouldn't sell it. But if I was ranking the quality of the print for all 3 cases, I would probably give the other 2 anywhere from a 9.5 to a 10 out of 10. And I would probably give this one maybe like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. I think you'll be able to see what I mean in my close-up shots that I'll be showing periodically here while I'm talking about the case. If you look really close up, so I mean like when the phone case is like this distance or closer to my face, I can see a few little bits of graininess, maybe some lines in the print that I wouldn't have expected. And the reason I didn't expect that for this case is because in the Printify designer view, it was estimating over 800 DPI for my file. So it's not because the file was stretched out and the file was too small or anything like that. From a distance of this far from my face or any further than that, I don't notice any type of quality issue or anything like that. But when it's pretty close up to your face, or if you really get up close to it, I would have to give this one slightly lower rating on the way this print came out compared to the other 2. Now the print is applied differently. It has a feel to it. You can feel the difference between the print and the smooth, glossy case. Whereas the other two, it's a little bit different because the print is more absorbed into the actual case, and there's really no difference in feel. So let's move on to the other soft case, and this is called a Flexi Case, or a flexible case. This is not a clear case. It's kind of got this like frosted look to it, and I hope you can see that well in the close-up shots that I'll be showing. Otherwise, it is pretty similar to the clear case in terms of how it fits your phone, how flexible it is, and you know, the flexible button covers. Let me just put my phone in this one so you can see it. All right, there we go. Now this one almost has like a little bit of a gel-like feel to it. It's not super squishy and soft, but it almost feels a little bit softer than the clear case does. The print quality on this one, I think, came out really, really nice. There's no difference in feel from the edge of the case where the print begins to the actual print. And the print just looks like and feels like it's part of the case. It doesn't feel like it's sitting on top of the case at all. And that's a good sign for durability as well. It doesn't feel like anything that would chip off or scratch off or anything like that. The print does go all the way to the edge, but it does not go around the edge. It's not a wraparound print. So the sides of all the way around are going to be this kind of like a frosted. Now when it comes to the camera bump protection, this one has a little bit of a lower, not as tall protection area around the camera lenses, but it does have a bump. It's got a bigger lip around the camera compared to the lip around the front. I would say the lip around the front for protecting the screen is about the same as the clear case, and hopefully you can see that in the close-up shots. It's really not a very, very tall lip, and so when you place the phone face down, it definitely is not touching a perfectly flat surface, but again, if you had an uneven surface, your screen's gonna be touching it because there is no really tall lip around it. But it's obviously better than not having a lip around it at all. Pretty much exactly the same here on the ports. The ports all line up perfectly with the speakers, the microphone, the cable connection. The buttons are all lined up perfectly and they're very easy to press. It's a very flexible case. I think this is probably my second favorite case out of the three, and that just leaves my favorite, and that would be the Tough Case. Now this case actually has two parts or two layers to it. It's got a softer, flexible TPU liner to provide some shock protection, and it's also got a harder exterior shell. This one is available in both a glossy finish and a matte finish. This is the matte finish, so it's not going to be shiny or reflective. It's just going to be a nice matte. It's still bright and colorful, and I intentionally used a fairly colorful design to hopefully try and show that off for you, that even though it's a matte finish, it's not going to lose any of that like brightness of the color. One benefit of the matte finish is that if you have darker colors, if this was black or a dark gray or something, it's not going to show the fingerprints quite as much as a glossy case in the same dark color scheme. Let me put this one on my phone now. All right, there we go. So similar result, I think, to the other two cases with the camera bump. Again, this one I would put in the middle of the three as far as how tall the lip around the camera area is. So still good. I would say I can't see any lenses, you know, bumping out past the edge of that lip. I would give this one the best rating in terms of the front screen protection lip. I think it's definitely got the tallest lip. It's still not massive. It's not like a super thick lip, but it's definitely, it definitely protrudes out more than the other two in terms of protecting the front side of your phone when you place it down. Port cutouts are all very open and easy to access. On the top and the bottom, you can see the liner. So the tough shell, the hard shell, doesn't actually cover completely on the bottom or on the top. It does wrap around to the sides though. So that is one thing just to be aware of if you have any designs that you're expecting to wrap all the way around the top or the bottom. They end before that because the hard part of the case where the print is doesn't completely go around the top or the bottom, but it does go around the side. So this is the only case of the three that has some wraparound aspect to it where the print actually goes around on the left and right sides of the phone. Obviously, I would give this one the best rating for overall protection of your phone because it's got the two layers. It's got the softer interior layer for some shock absorption. It's got the harder outside layer for the harder impact protection. And in general, it just also gives a little bit, it's a little bit thicker. I think the print on this style of print comes out really, really nice. Hopefully you can tell in the close-up that it's a very crisp image. There's no graininess, there is no pixelation, no soft edges. It's very, very sharp and nice looking. So let's start by looking at some search volume for phone cases. I want to point out something about the difference between iPhone case searches and general phone case searches for Android phone users. And then we'll start looking at maybe some niche opportunities. We'll take a look at the design files and the templates that Printify offers for you to use, how to adjust your designs, and lastly, we'll talk about pricing. All right, we're going to start with some search volume information. And I want to point out the difference here as far as search phrases for iPhone case versus phone case, because these are going to be relevant words to use in your long tail keyword phrases for your tags and your title. And there is a little bit of a difference between the two when it comes to search volume on Etsy. But first, in terms of general search volume on the internet, if we use Google Trends and we put in just iPhone case and we look at the past 5 years, you'll notice something that kind of makes a lot of sense. Whenever Apple comes out with a new iPhone, a new series, a new generation of iPhone, people kind of go crazy buying those new iPhones and then searching for cases to get for their iPhones. But notice that in between all of those peaks when the new generation of iPhones come out, the search volume doesn't dip down to anywhere near zero relative to the rest of those peaks. So there's still some consistent volume even in between the times when, your new phones are coming out. Now, let's get more specific to Etsy. If we run a search on Sales Samurai for just the search phrase phone case, Sales Samurai is actually telling us that there's only about 3,100, just over 3,000 monthly searches for that phrase. Of course, there's over 50,000 competition for that search phrase because it has nothing to do with any specific niche. It's just a product. But something interesting happens when we change this to iPhone case. We're going to switch over and use the Sales Samurai Chrome extension now. So something interesting happens here when we get just a tiny bit more specific with our search instead of just putting in phone case. When I put in iPhone case, the extension is telling me here that the monthly search volume estimate for iPhone case is over 26,000. Remember, it was just about 3,000 if I just put in phone case. So there's a lot more monthly searches going on for iPhone case, and those are coming from iPhone owners. So the good thing about that is who you're targeting, who your audience is if you use iPhone case as part of your keyword string, part of your phrase. And so that's what's good about that. That people are searching for iPhone case, and we can use the extension to find some more specific niche ideas with that as part of the phrase. If we put in Samsung phone case, we are also getting a search volume, a monthly search volume of 435 estimated per month. Now, here is where this starts to lean me towards focusing more on iPhone owners than Android owners. I have nothing against Android phones. I used to have Android phones before I had an iPhone, but when it comes to selling or targeting different phone brand or phone operating system owners, this is where it starts to lean me in the direction of targeting iPhone owners. If I own a Samsung, I'm not going to search for Android phone case, and I'm not just going to search for phone case. I'm going to search for Samsung phone case because that's the brand of phone that I have. I may even search for the model that I have, right? And this is true of iPhone cases as well, where the search term might be iPhone 12 case or iPhone 13 case, but it gets to a point where none of these keyword phrases are going to fit in your tags because they're all over 20 characters long. And so you could only really use a phrase that long, Samsung Galaxy S22 case in a title, and then people who are searching for other Samsung cases aren't going to see your product because you're focusing in on one model. So this is the type of stuff. These are the kind of factors that lean me in the direction of offering my phone case designs on iPhone cases and kind of targeting iPhone owners, because the search terms, the search phrases are a little bit more simplified. You can pretty much just do whatever the niche or the design is, like a couple keywords about that, and then add iPhone case. And that doesn't add a super long phrase to your search terms or your title. So if we use the Sales Samurai Chrome extension, I put in that iPhone case as the search term, and then I clicked on the search volume to bring up this window. This is the Chrome extension sort of detailed view. And as you can see, the actual search term I used is highlighted here where it says iPhone case. And here's our search volume monthly of 26,174. But there is an awful lot of competition for that phrase, so I would never try and just use iPhone case in my keyword tags and leave it at that. I want to look for niche opportunities that still have good search volume every month, but have lower competition. And this is exactly what the Sales Samurai Chrome extension helps you do. Obviously, there's going to be searches in here that we can't use as far as creating a design or using the phrase, because there are going to be things in here that are trademarked. So we always have to keep that in mind. Oh, I looked right past this one at first. This says RN iPhone case, 384 searches per month, only 1,158 competition. Let's take a look at that let's see what the search results for that are. Aha, this is what I thought. So RN phone case, the search results, registered nurse, right? So these are nurse-themed phone cases. Some of these search results are like, this is a decal or a sticker that you could put on a phone case, but it's not a phone case, so it's not even relevant for this actual search. But I'm seeing some decent opportunity here to come out with a design and some good mock-ups, because a lot of these mock-ups are default mock-ups on a plain white background. And, I think there's probably a good opportunity here. And so let's use this one for our example. Let's now take a look at creating a design for this niche and a couple different ways to do that. So we're in the Printify catalog, and I'm going to use the tough case example that we looked at from our reviews, because that was my favorite, and I think it has some great selling potential. Protective phone cases, there's definitely a good size market for. So let's click on Start Designing. And the first thing we're going to want to do is update the variants that we're offering. So click on, in the top right corner, Prices and Variants. And this is where we select which ones we want to offer. So first, let's select Surface here. They have glossy and matte, as I mentioned. I think for this design, I'm going to go for the matte finish. Now let's go back over to the sizes. And this is where we're going to select which phone sizes we want to offer. As you can see, they do have it in a decent number of Android phone sizes, and then we get into the iPhone sizes. So I'm going to deselect everything. For this example, I'm going to stick with the iPhone because I think doing the tags and title is easier. So I'm going to do iPhone 13 sizes. Obviously, those are the most current. I'm going to do all the iPhone 12 sizes. I'm going to do all the iPhone 11 sizes. And we got more Samsung in here. And I think I'm going to throw in the iPhone XR. So we'll hit update there. And now we can start focusing on the design. There is a size difference between the different sizes, especially when it comes to like the regular size versus the max size, as Apple calls it. So there's like the regular iPhone 13, and then there is the iPhone 13 Max, and then there's the Pro and the Pro Max. What I like to do that saves a little bit of time is not have different print file dimensions, but just use one print file that is big enough for the largest size, and then scale it down a little bit if I need to for the smaller sizes. How do you know what the different dimensions are? Well, one helpful thing that Printful has for all of their phone cases is a template file, and it's down here in the bottom left portion of the screen. If you look at that bottom corner, there's a little page with a download symbol. So click on that and it will download the template file. And it is a PSB file that will open up in a photo editing software. So I'm going to bring up Photoshop. And this is the file. It's got a layer, a multi-stacked layer here for each of the models, and it shows you all of the different sizes. So here's the iPhone 12 Pro, and right next to it should be, there we go, the iPhone 12 Pro Max. The size for this print file that Printify recommends is 1323 by 2220 pixels. If we base our file size off of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, size of around 1330 or 1350 to 2300, that's going to be just a little bit bigger than what we need on the largest size, which means it's going to be, the good quality print file that we need for the big size. And then when we size it down, it will only actually increase the DPI on the smaller sizes when we scale it down. So we won't have any size related quality issues for our print file. Now, if you want to use this template to actually create your design, what you want to do is find the layer for that largest size. There you go. So here's all of the layers. And if we expand that layer for the 12 Pro Max, you'll see there's a guide layer, and then there's a your design layer, and then there's a background. So if we turn we can turn the background off. Now it's transparent. We can turn off the guide layer. And then what we would do is we would insert the design that we want to work with here. You can do text as you normally would. You can import or do the place embedded option for any graphics that you got from any graphics service that you use. Make all of your adjustments and then unhide the guide layer. to make sure that, your design is going to look the way you want it to look inside the print area or the safe area, and that is inside the green dotted line. Once you do that, then you can export your file, and it will be the right size for the largest size. Another option is to use Canva. Once you know the size of the graphic that you need to make, if you use Canva to create your designs, you can just then create a design in the custom size option that we determined. So like 1330 by 2300, create our design. Now we've got a blank canvas for a file size that's going to work on the largest iPhone size. And we can use Canva's free graphics to put together a design. And we're going to stick with that RN iPhone case, so a nurse-themed iPhone case. We can use the free graphics here, or if you have a service like Vexels, you can always go look for a design that you want to use. So let's say this was a design that you came up with. This is not my best design ever, so please don't make fun of my lack of skills for throwing together a quick design for this. But let's say you were happy with this and you wanted this to be your design. I do have a concern with a design like this because we know that the case is going to have a large cutout up in this left corner because iPhones have that camera bump up there, especially the last, I think it's 3 generations, all have a pretty large camera bump. And so this is where using that template with the guide area actually can really help you. But as you become more and more used to designing around something like that, it becomes easier to use Canva and just kind of know where that is falling. But one thing that I like to do instead of creating a design that's got a background like this is actually save the background file separate from the design file, because that way I can move around the design with a transparent background and instead of moving around this whole file. Because if we saved this file like this with a solid background, what's going to happen is we're going to need to position this to avoid that camera bump cutout. And then what'll happen is the background's moving around with it. So if we save the design as a transparent PNG file, like as if we were making it for a t-shirt, and then you save the file of your background separately, you can add them as separate layers in Printify and then adjust the design around the camera cutout. All right, so here we are in our designer view. Once you upload these two print files, you also get this view here with the phone model. So you have 2 places. You have up in the prices and variants section. You also have down here in this little drop down where you can change which phone options you want to include. You also want to make sure that you have the one selected that you want to start with. So I want to start with the 13 Pro Max. And so I've clicked on 13 Pro Max here, and now that's the one that it's showing me. Now I've got both of the layers added here. I've got the background that I wanted and the design I created. Notice now I'm free to move this design around, and it doesn't move the background image around. So I can place this wherever it needs to go. As far as placement goes, you want to make sure that you're within the safe area, which is outlined with a dotted line here. And you want to make sure the background, whatever you're using for the background, fills all the way out to the bleed area. And you do have another option when it comes to the background. You don't have to upload a file to be the background if you don't have a specific pattern or design that you want to use for the background. You could just delete the background layer or not upload one and then use the background color option that Printify gives you to put in a hex code for a background choice that you want to have. So here's another way to do it. You can just select a background color option if you just want a solid background. Before we leave this, I want to point out what to do to resize this on the different sizes. So what you want to do, if there's a significant difference on any of them, like here's a good example, the iPhone 13 Pro won't work the way I placed this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this option at the bottom here that says make a specific design for iPhone 13 Pro. And I know it's a little bit behind my head, but hopefully you can see it. So I'm going to select that, and it's going to put a little blue dot on this one option up here, iPhone 13 Pro. And that's letting you know that any adjustments you make only apply to that size. So now we can make this print file a little smaller so that it fits within the printable area for that size case. And of course, you want to recenter it. You don't necessarily have to save a separate option or make an adjustment for every size, but you want to look at every size. Now, of course, when you do publish this listing, we're not just going to use the keyword phrase RN iPhone case. That might end up being the primary one that goes into the title and our tags if that one has the highest search volume and the lowest competition. But we're also going to do some research around the design that we landed on. I just landed on "Trust Me, I'm a Nurse" for this design because I did a trademark search for that phrase and didn't find any trademark results. All right, the last thing that I want to review together is pricing for these phone cases. I'm going to focus on the pricing for the tough cases because that's the one we designed, but the same process that we're about to do would apply, of course, to the others, and they actually have a slightly lower cost than the tough cases. So whatever pricing we come out to, it would just be a tiny bit lower for those other styles of case. So the regular price for these cases right now is $12.12. That will go up a little bit after the sale is over for Mother's Day right now. But the shipping cost is $2.49. So we have a total cost of $14.61. We're going to come over to our trusty Allura Etsy price calculator. We're going to put in $14.61 here as our total cost. And I'm going to start with the same price I always start with, $19.99, because that's easy for me to then go up or down. I know I'm going to have to go up from that, but I just always like to start there. So the profit margin on $19.99 would be 15% or $3. And so naturally, I want to go a little bit higher than that because, of course, I want to be able to put these on sale for 10 or 15% off periodically. And, if we priced it at $19.99, that would obviously take us down to almost nothing in profit if we did put them on sale. So $22.99 would be a 25% profit margin, or a profit of $5.75 per case. But if a lot of the competition is charging more than that and you can get away with something more like $24.99, then that would get you your 30% profit margin, over $7 of profit per phone case. And I think that could still be a reasonable price for one of those tough cases for sure, as long as your competitors in that niche are not all really undercutting you on price, because you're going to stand out if they're all charging like $17, $18.99. But as long as they're not, if they're in that low 20s, then you could definitely get away with $24.99. And by the way, I'm assuming free shipping on this. If you don't want to do free shipping and you want to charge the customer the $2.50, then just lower your face value price by that much. And that would get you down a little bit more. So you can actually do like $22.49 as your face value price, charge $2.50 for shipping, and wind up with the same profit margin. Now, if you have a premium account, you're starting at $9.33 with the same shipping cost. So that takes your cost all the way down to $11.82. You could go all the way down to $19.99 as your regular price with free shipping and still make 29% profit margin, $5.82, if you have a premium account. So if your plan is to really scale up a print-on-demand store based on phone cases, the premium account definitely would give you an advantage there in being able to be really competitive on your prices, because $20 for a phone case that's got a specific niche design on it, that's good quality and provides good protection for your phone, that's a very good price. I know on Amazon you can go get a phone case for like $7, $8 with Prime shipping, but those are all pretty much going to be fairly low quality phone cases. So this is one of the things I really like about selling phone cases, is that you have a lot of flexibility in how you price them. All right, that's it for this video. I hope we have made the case for you to consider selling phone cases in your print-on-demand shop, whether it be on Etsy or on your own site. Don't forget to head over to podinsights.net and check out all of the resources that are available over there for print-on-demand selling. I have a whole page of resources that I recommend all print-on-demand sellers check out. We also have the POD Insights podcast. There is a blog with articles where you can listen or read every episode of the podcast, and that's also over there on podinsights.net. If this video was helpful, if you found it interesting, do me a favor and hit that like button. It'll help YouTube recognize that this is a video more people should see, and subscribe to the POD Insights channel if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, thank you so much for coming back. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.